There's a pattern in history that has destroyed three global superpowers in the last 500 years. And right now, in 2025, the United States is following that exact same pattern, stage by stage, decision by decision, almost like we're reading from the same script that led to catastrophe every single time before. In 1590, Spain was the richest empire on earth. They controlled half the world's gold and silver. Their military dominated Europe. Their currency was accepted everywhere. Within just 80 years, they were bankrupt, a second-rate power that never recovered. In 1914, Britain ruled the largest empire in human history. The sun never set on British territory. The pound sterling was the global reserve currency. Within 40 years, the empire was gone, the currency collapsed, and Britain became America's junior partner. In 1991, the Soviet Union was the other superpower. Nuclear weapons, global influence, satellites spanning the globe. It ceased to exist in just 900 days, not from war, but from economic implosion. 3 times, 3 superpowers, 3 total collapses, all following the exact same sequence. And here's what should terrify you. The United States has already completed 5 of the 7 stages. We're not approaching the pattern. We're deep inside it. This is the story of how empires die, why they always think they're different, and why the math says we're next, and it's happening faster than anyone wants to admit. First, you need to understand what imperial collapse actually looks like in practice, not in textbooks. It doesn't start with invasion or military defeat. It starts with economic exhaustion. The empire overextends beyond its ability to sustain itself. Military bases in 150 countries, wars on multiple fronts, promises it can't keep, debts it can't repay. At first, the decline is invisible. The currency still works. The military still wins battles. The government still makes grand promises. But beneath the surface, the foundation is cracking. Resources are misallocated. Productive capacity shrinks. The best and brightest start leaving. Then comes the acceleration. Allies hedge, enemies test boundaries, trade partners seek alternatives, and the reserve currency status begins to erode. Suddenly, the very advantages that made you powerful become fatal vulnerabilities. That's not theory. That's exactly what happened to Spain, Britain, and the Soviet Union because they made the same decisions we're making right now. Let's go through the blueprint, starting with the first true global empire, Spain, 1500s-1600s. After Columbus, Spain seized the richest gold and silver mines in history. By 1600, they were shipping home over 400 tons of silver a year. The Spanish real was the world's reserve currency. Everyone wanted Spanish silver. And that's where the fatal pattern always begins. A nation that controls the world's money starts believing it is invincible. Stage 1 military overextension. King Philip II fought wars on 4 continents at once. Against the Ottomans, France, the Dutch rebels, England, even in the Philippines. Half of Spain's revenue went to the military, and it still wasn't enough. Stage 2 currency debasement. They started mixing copper into silver coins. A silver coin went from nearly pure to 75% copper. Face value stayed the same, real value collapsed. Inflation exploded. Stage 3 debt spiral. Spain declared bankruptcy in 1557, 1560, 1575, and 1596. 4 defaults in 40 years. Each time they promised reform, then borrowed and spent even more. Stage 4 loss of productive capacity. All that gold and silver destroyed real wealth creation. Why farm, build, or manufacture when you can just buy everything? Spanish industry and agriculture collapsed. The precious metals flowed straight out again to pay for French wine, Italian silk, and Dutch goods. Stage 5 social decay. Crime exploded. The best minds emigrated. By 1700, Spain was a hollow shell, still big on the map, but economically dead. From world superpower to irrelevant in less than a century. Fast forward 300 years. Britain, early 1900s. The empire covered 25% of the planet. The pound sterling was the undisputed global reserve currency. London was the financial capital of the world, and they thought it would last forever. Stage 1 military overextension. Commitments on 6 continents. World War I cost them $1 trillion in today's money. They borrowed massively, mostly from the United States. Stage 2 currency debasement. Gold reserves were drained. In 1925, they returned to the gold standard at an overvalued rate, crushing exports. By 1931, they abandoned it. The pound crashed 25% overnight. Stage 3 debt spiral. World War II added another $120 billion in debt. By 1945, Britain owed more than its entire GDP. Stage 4 loss of empire. 1947. India gone. Within 20 years, almost the entire empire vanished. Stage 5 currency collapse. The pound went from $4.03 in 1940 to barely above $1.20 today. A global reserve currency reduced to a regional one. Now, the most recent example, the Soviet Union, 1945-1991. Stage 1 military overextension. 15-20% of GDP on the military. Triple America's percentage. Afghanistan, Cuba, Vietnam, Africa. They had to counter America everywhere. Stage 2 economic stagnation. Central planning failed. By the 1980s, they were importing grain from the West. A country with the world's best farmland couldn't feed itself. Stage 3 currency collapsed. The ruble was never convertible. They paid for imports with oil and gold because nobody wanted rubles. Stage 4 loss of empire. 1989. Berlin Wall falls. Eastern Europe walks away in months. Stage 5 total collapse. December 26, 1991. The Soviet Union ceases to exist. 900 days from crack to disintegration. Same 5 stages, every time. And now the United States, 2025. Stage 1 military overextension. 750 plus bases in 80 countries. $850 billion defense budget, more than the next 10 nations combined, and we still can't fight 2 major wars at once. Stage 2 currency debasement. 1971. Nixon closes the gold window. Since 2020 alone, we printed $6 plus trillion. The dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power since 1971. Stage 3 debt spiral. $36 trillion national debt. 120% of GDP. Interest payments now larger than the defense budget. We borrow to pay interest on previous borrowing. Stage 4 loss of productive capacity. We offshored manufacturing to China, Mexico, Vietnam. We run an $800 plus billion annual trade deficit. We depend on foreign supply chains for medicine, chips, steel, even military parts. Stage 5 social decay. Trust in institutions at all-time lows. 100,000 plus annual overdose deaths. Fertility rate collapsed. Political gridlock. We can't build or agree on anything. That's 5 out of 7 stages completed. Stage 6 is loss of reserve currency status. BRICS alternatives, central banks buying gold, Saudi Arabia accepting yuan for oil, China, Russia trading in local currencies. It's already starting. Stage 7 is sudden collapse, not slow decline. Ask the Soviet Union how fast it can happen. 3 empires thought they were exceptional. 3 empires were wrong. We're telling ourselves the same story right now. We have technology, we have the dollar, we're America, but the pattern doesn't care about slogans. The math doesn't negotiate. Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union all followed the script. The United States is not halfway through the play. We're in the final act. The only question left is how much time remains. If this video just opened your eyes to where we really are in the sequence, hit that subscribe button, because when stages 6 and 7 arrive, you're going to want to understand exactly what is happening and why.